Why, hello there. How are we this Tuesday, February the 9th? It is evening time for me at 7 o'clock. Go ahead and let me know where you are listening to, or from, I should say, to and from. Obviously, this is a live on YouTube and also Facebook. And today I'd like to talk to you about really embracing our experience of life. So we got Colorado Springs. I've never been to Colorado Springs. I'd like to go to Colorado Springs. I'm in California myself, San Diego. And it's great to have you on this stream. So feel free to. Of course, Josh, I know where you are from. You're in, let's see, I can't actually remember the city you're in, but Australia, of course, yes. We got Diana, in Victoria. We got Las Vegas. Hey, Chris, my great friend, I hope you're well. Yes, Josh, it is a Wednesday for you. You're definitely in the future. You are in the future, so that is a good place to be. So it's great to have you here. So obviously this is live, and I put these lives onto my podcast if I feel like they're a good fit anyway. So let me go ahead and do a small introduction, and that way it just makes my life a whole lot easier when it comes to the editing. So let's go straight into this episode. Are you ready? Here's how I always do it. Oh, Cherry just said, FB would not let you comment? And you're in Tulsa. Well, that's weird. Oh, well, you're on YouTube. I think YouTube's a lot better for this. I'm by the way, just very quick update. The Facebook page is still alive. We're not doing social media posts to it, but I paid for this one of like an extension platform which allows me to stream to multiple destinations. So for the time being, I am still going live on YouTube and also Facebook, and in the future a couple of other places. But once again, let me go ahead and get into this episode for the podcast as a replay. So this is episode 510, and today we're going to be talking about honoring your experience, to honor your struggle, to honor the feelings and emotion that you feel. You see, we may be struggling, but there's one thing we should never do is to run away from what we feel. It's so important. In fact, that's where conflict arises, because when we hide from what we feel, the noise will carry on getting louder. It's almost like your unconscious mind, which runs like the domain of your emotions, whether it be anger, sadness, fear, guilt, hurt, shame, whatever it is. Your unconscious mind is screaming out these emotions, and the more we try to bury them or suppress them, it will actually create a bigger issue, a bigger conflict within our mind and body. And look, I'm no medical practitioner, of course. I'm no doctor, you know that. But we do know that stress breaks the chain of good health. So when we are experiencing emotions and we're trying to run from them, trying to repress them, one of the issues can be it can create a deeper conflict and actually allow those symptoms or those emotions to be bigger than ever before. Now, I want you to know that it's human to feel these emotions. I mean, it's a kaleidoscope of emotions that we feel in life, whether it be the positive, happy ones or even negative ones. It's life. It's an experience that we go through, and to run away from those is not going to do us any good. And it doesn't mean to dwell upon them. I'm not saying dwell upon, but to honor and to acknowledge. So look, I like to think that you would know that I'm open and honest. In the last month or two even, I've gone through some stuff, although I'm not going to go into the details of that stuff. But I have gone through that human life experience, one of the biggest changes that someone can go through. And my immediate response, usually, this is the human Joseph, okay? The human Joseph goes, I'm just going to battle my way through this. I'm just going to push on forward. I'm going to just ignore and just keep on moving forward and act as if everything is all shiny and rainbows and unicorns and all those kind of things. And it is a human experience that we try to live into because we don't want to feel the pain. I mean, who wants to feel pain? Who wants to feel anger? Who wants to feel stress or sadness or grief? No one does. And as I said, I am human and I am going through an experience, and I want to honor that experience. And I want you to honor your experience, because if I were to shy away, if I were just to say, look, just keep pushing forward, it creates a bigger conflict within ourselves. It creates a battle to remain in control. And when we try to just ignore that, it creates something within inside ourselves. And yes, on a metaphorical level, it creates this extra layer of protection, like a swelling, like we're trying to just keep ourselves safe. And that's good in the short term, because it's okay. Look, sometimes like the body unconsciously will literally repress things from you, memories and events, if it feels like it cannot, or if it feels like you cannot deal with that situation. So it will suppress things. But if we're consciously repressing and just bearing ourselves out from any form of pain, it is going to create a conflict. It's going to cause us to experience more down the line. It's going to, like, I don't want to presuppose things, but like, your body is great at manifesting things, right? We know that the body will manifest experiences, physical ailments. Once again, disclaimer, I am no doctor, but I have done a ton of research. I've worked with so many clients who are going through physical illness, and there's a lot of evidence. I'm no doctor, but there's a lot of evidence between emotional, psychological pain and the body producing symptoms. And the more we run away and the more we kind of bury that emotion, I just see it like in my mind, like the body is just going to keep on screaming louder and louder until you pay attention. So in the short term, yes, it's okay to give yourself that time and space and that form of repression. But long term, it's never going to be a beneficial experience for you. So how do we shift this experience? Let's just say you've gone through something big, like life-changing. And I don't mind how, in fact, I don't even mind how small it is. It could be grieving a person, a job loss, a business loss. It could be a physical thing. It could be anything. But it's important to know, if it's meaningful to you, we must be able to understand the meaning of it. Does that make sense? Like, if it's meaningful to you, it is important. So therefore, we should honor that importance. So we do not keep on getting the response from the body now in form of emotions or physical, psychological, emotional things, or later down the line when it gets worse. Because it can get worse. We know that. I mean, like I said, I've done a lot of research into the mind and body and how it has an effect on significant emotional events, and lots of, like, just as a little kind of tip, sometimes after we've gone into an experience where we feel like we're very, very isolated or we're very, very alone and there's no way out, sometimes a few months later, 6 months later, we can experience something physically because the body's trying to work for it, and it can be an issue to a degree. And we don't want to run away from it. We need to be able to honor our experience. So this is a real life thing for me right now. I have and am going through a big life experience. And with that, I've been on a mission to be able to understand what I'm going through, not to solve it necessarily, not to dwell upon it, but to experience it. Because if I keep repressing, as I said, we get more into issues. It can come back worse. But what if we just honor it? What if we just go, look, it's okay, I'm human. I've gone through something and I feel angry. I've gone through something and I feel sad. I've gone through something and I feel guilty, or I feel shame, or I feel hurt, or any emotion for that matter. When we begin to acknowledge it, and in a way we can observe it for what it really is, a human life experience that we're going through, to understand it, to know that it's okay to feel emotions. It doesn't mean they have to stay. It doesn't mean there's going to be a life-changing experience for the rest of your life, but to really connect with it and go with it, to flow with it, to acknowledge it, and to even express it, to express our emotions. And it doesn't matter if you just suddenly you're going for a run and you get emotional, or if you're just suddenly break down. Like, experience it for a little bit. It's okay. We're human people. We're humans. We're experiencing life. And it's okay to experience whatever we experience. And it's not, once again, to really affirm this, it's not to dwell upon it, but it's to express it, to not let it feel trapped, to not let it fester beneath the surface, but to truly understand what we're going through, to understand what is there to be learned here. What can I learn from this experience? You see, when I come from a place that if I feel something, or I acknowledge that I'm going through some form of pain, and I acknowledge that it's okay to do that, it doesn't mean that we're weak. It means we're actually stronger because we are facing and experiencing that emotion for what it is. And when we really begin to express it, not in like a huge crazy way, but like touch upon it, to experience it, and to go, do you know what, even though I'm feeling this conflict or struggle or anxiety, worry, doubt, fear, even though I'm feeling this, it's okay, and I'm going to be okay. It shall pass. This emotion that I feel is not going to remain forever. It may remain for a long time if I refuse to experience it, because although I'm refusing or I'm repressing it, it's causing, we know it's still there beneath the surface. It's always in the back of our mind. But if we really see it for what it is, and we just touch upon it each and every day, and we just acknowledge it, and we honor that feeling, when we honor it for what it is, it's almost as if your unconscious mind goes, you're listening to me. You get me. Thank you for allowing me to express this feeling with you. And that's a sense of rapport. We're connected with ourself. We're connected with who we are. And we're allowing ourselves the freedom to feel what's needed to be felt. So we can feel and go through it, or go with it and then beyond it. It's really going to be the most powerful way for you to transform, to understand that, look, even though some people say I'm going through this big conflict or problem, but no, it's a life experience that is going to cause you to grow in some way if you choose. And when you see it from that lens of growth, that even though I've gone through or am going through this experience, and although I don't want to feel it, although it's painful, even though that is true in my present reality, I want to welcome it to a degree. I want to welcome some of those feelings because they're real feelings. They're true feelings. And once I honor them, what do you think happens to those feelings? Let's paint a different picture. Let's just say you're in an argument with a friend and you just kind of say, no, I don't want to speak to you, and you're angry or you're just trying to run away from the situation. They're a good, great friend, but you just don't want to experience that. Is that going to be able to solve the issue long term if you carry on that way? Is it going to cause you to mend that relationship? No, it's not. It's going to create a bigger divide, a bigger struggle, a bigger fight. But what if you were to go, look, I want to understand your perspective. Even though I don't like it, I want to understand where you're coming from. I want to acknowledge and honor whatever you're feeling or whatever you're experiencing, and I want to learn from this. If you said that to your friend, I'm going to presume that even if you don't like the situation, you are open to a solution. You are open to a new experience. And I'm going to presume that friend of yours will go, this is how I feel, and this is how we can overcome it. Because you are open, you are resourceful, you're willing. Now let's just change that friend, well, it's still your friend. It's your unconscious mind. It's your best friend. We want to be able to understand what our body is feeling or what our emotions are feeling. We want to be able to connect with it, to understand and go through it or overcome it and become stronger and wiser because of that experience. So I really want you to know that no matter what you're going through, I mean, obviously it's been a hard year for everyone, of course, being this year or the previous year. But even though life is showing something up and you're feeling these emotions, don't run from them, don't bury them. Yeah, we can put them at arm's distance sometimes, but acknowledge them, understand it's okay. You are human. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel angry or hurt or guilty or shame or whatever emotion it is. Whatever you're experiencing, honor it. By honoring it doesn't mean dwelling, it doesn't mean remaining. In fact, when you honor it and understand it and begin to work through it in a productive, powerful way, in an open-minded way, you're going to overcome it more quickly than you could ever imagine. And you'll actually look back one day and go, even though it was horrible, I learned something. I'm better in some way. It caused me to look inside myself. It caused me to go on the inside, find the resources, and go, even though this happened, I became stronger because of it. And since you have that ability, I know that you do. You might not know everything, but I definitely know that you are a resilient person. You're alive, you're ready, you're willing to listen. You're willing to adapt. You're willing to take part because you're up to this point, you're still listening. And if you weren't, then okay, you wouldn't be listening to this bit. But the fact that you are shows you have what it takes. You have everything within you. And not to say that in a cliche way, but honestly, you have the potential. You have the ability to overcome any adversity, any struggle, any conflict, but just don't hide from it. Honor it. It's a life experience. We didn't come to this world, no matter what our beliefs are, by the way, but like even just like biology, like it's a human experience. It's gonna have a variety of emotions, all the most amazing ones and even the most painful ones. But once we start to judge it, or once we try to run away from it, or we dwell upon it, it's not going to support us. But if we honor it for what it is, we can move through it and learn and become stronger because of it. So I hope that gave you something. Like I said, there's a human experience that I'm going through, and it's all good. Like I'm seeing it as an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to feel what I feel and things like that. I know that some people might think that, look, I've been doing self-development for 18, 19 years and I should know everything out. But look, it's a life experience. It's the ability to use the tools that you have in any given moment. Because life is going to be life, but it's how you respond to it. You're not a product of it. It's how you respond to it. And the quicker you respond to it in the healthiest way, to use the processes that you know, whether it be hypnosis, whether it be coaching, or whether you seek out someone's help to be able to get you to that place, no matter what it is, the quicker you respond to it, the easier it is to move through it. So realize it's okay wherever you are, as long as you're approaching it in the right way to be able to get you to where you want to be. And that's what I've really got to say about that subject. And I hope you found that of value. I hope that in some way you can utilize it even now or in the future to be able to become more you, to integrate more into wholeness and to become stronger because of it. And we've got a question right now as well, so I'm going to quickly answer that. So we got one saying, one of the challenges I experience is that through honoring my struggles and expressing them, it disrupts those around me. Do you have any views on this, Joseph? So it's a great question, first of all, and there's lots of different kind of ways we can approach it. Sometimes when we honor our struggle, not everyone is ready to be able to listen or to be a part of that struggle or to face it. And it's not always like, even though like I could go into a situation, go, look, I'm honoring this situation, and we can like put it into their life, and maybe they're not ready. Maybe it's got to be an internal honoring for us. Not everything needs to be shared to the amount that we may wish to. So one level is there are different levels of honoring. To honor it within yourself without having to express it. Or the other level is, let's just say the people in your life aren't ready to receive that honor that you're going through. And maybe doing it by yourself isn't enough, which I believe there is enough for you to do that. But I understand that to get an outside perspective is really important as well. Is to find someone or some people who would be that person for you, and that you can be that person for someone else. You can be the lifeboat for them, and they can be the lifeboat for you. So it's who we choose to share and to express. Like for me personally, I'm very, very happy and full of gratitude that I can speak to my brothers, I can speak to my dad, my family, to a big degree, and some close friends, and they will listen and they will do it. And they've obviously got biased opinions, right? Because they love me. I hope they do, but they don't love me. So, of course, the feedback I might get might be biased, but they're going to do their very best to just be there for me or to allow me to express thoughts, whether it be big issues or whether it be about business, whether it be about my passions, or if I should do this, go on this vacation or go on this vacation. No, I actually think about it. I haven't been on vacation for a very, very long time. I guess no one has, right? Because of this whole stuff last year too. But yeah, like you got to choose who can listen to you to express that. Because I know for a fact that there are some people I cannot express challenges because it will disrupt their mindset. It's like some people cannot watch the news because it will disrupt their day. For that person, they should not be watching the news. Like, I've limited my news, but I feel like I'm really, really kind of strong when it comes to news. But even now, I'm like, look, I just don't want to listen to the news. Like, it's just not something which I think my mind should be in. And if someone is like that, I'm going to say, don't listen to the news. Now, change that from your issue, as in the news now being your issue. Some people don't need to know or are able to absorb or to deal with that experience. And that's okay too. So we can either honor it ourselves or we can find someone, and it can take time to find someone, but you will find someone who's willing to do that. And on top of that, you may even go further and invest in a professional to listen to you. Now, look, there's not a business plug for me because I like to make changes rather than listen all the time. Like, I'm no counselor, in other words, and counselors have a great wealth, and they're so much stronger than me to a degree because I just want to get going and changing. But they give you that space to be able to let out things. Like I said, my business is different. I'm not like, if someone says like, can you be my counselor? I'm like, no, I cannot be a counselor. It's not in my capacity to do so. I just want to be able, what's your problem? What's your outcome? Okay, let's just resolve the conflict and get you to where you want to be really quickly. But I also fully appreciate and honor that counselors or psychologists and so on, they have their place too. So maybe finding someone who is a professional so you can express that. Because then they're going to be super unbiased. You're paying them, so therefore they're there to listen to you, and you can just outlet it. And because they're less biased, then they can probably be, and it's hard for everyone, even me, but they're going to be more likely to be more objective rather than subjective. So sometimes that is actually better because, as I said, like with my family, there's always going to be a bias there because they like and love me. So there's going to be a bias. But if having a professional to be able to support you through that can actually be a really powerful thing as well. And thank you ever so much as well. It was a really good question. And just so you know, for the replay, it says, brilliant advice, Joseph, thank you. Your analogy of different levels, along with the importance of being a lifeboat for others and having the support for myself, is something I do not have in place. Perfect. And I like actually commenting on that because what you've done there is be able to like summarize it all. And that's why I like kind of reading out the comments there. So now you know that consciously, you can start to put that in place. And other things, there's support groups out there. There's meetup groups out there. There's like a wealth of people who want what you want, and you can work with people like that. Yeah, so that's a really good question, and I really appreciate that. So with that, I don't know how long we've been going for, so I think that's pretty much all I've got to say on the subject. And of course, if you're enjoying this, if you're enjoying the live, go to youtube.com/Joseph Clough, Clough. And you can go ahead and subscribe and like and hit that bell thingamajig, and that means you'll get notified. And of course, although this subject has been very different, It's not something my program actually solves, but I wanted to be obviously vulnerable to a degree to know, look, I want you to know that, look, people go through things and this is how I am approaching it. But of course, if you are in a situation when it comes to limiting beliefs about yourself, your business, and so on, career development, go ahead to josephclough.info/go, and then you can book a call with the team and we can make sure that figure out if we can help you, serve you. And it's a fully customized program from custom tracks, one-to-one, so it's very significant. Lots of group level modules, programs, assignments. It is all powerful and all in, but it's very, very significant in that way. So that's just josephclough.info/go. And thank you, Chris. I appreciate that as well. So with that, we will end this live video if you're getting us in a replay, and also if you are listening to this on the the podcast or the app, go ahead and leave a rating and review. It really does help, because if you go ahead and leave it's all I can never say the word anonymous. It's always that, because it's just like a username, but it just means that if people look at the review, they'll go, oh, I might check out this guy called Joseph, and this one video or this one audio might have been what they needed. To be able to get them out of something. So it takes a few or maybe 30 seconds to a minute to write something small, and it's just going to really, really help people. So with that, I'll speak to you very, very soon. Many thanks and goodbye.